Welcome back everybody for another Mad Hatter tutorial. We are back here to continue on with the MCmmo plugin that we've been doing. This one will be a bit of a longer one because we're going to cover everything with the combat skills. This includes swords, axes, tridents, both archeries, unarmed combat, taming, and maces. And taming, you'll see why taming is in there. Alright, so let's get started. Let me get my notes straight over here. With swords, you have the sub skills serrated strikes, counterattack, and rupture. Alright, let's see. Let's get us something to fight here. Alright, so, and let's see. Got to. There we go. Alright, so with the first one, basically all these levels with sword, killing things, players, and mobs. That's how you're gonna level it up. Of course. Um, with serrated strike, basically it deals an area of effect type damage and can cause the rupture to also happen to the mob as well within that area of effect. So we will. Let's see, I do believe this one has to be, yes, you have to ready your sword for this effect to work. And if it don't take any combat within a couple seconds, of course your sword will lower just like with the mining ability I covered. So let's get us a mob here. Well, right, that did not go well to start with. There we go, we got a piglin over here. Ready your sword. Alright, and basically it just deals a lot more damage. It helps kill the mob a whole lot easier. Um, some of these are going to be a little hard to demonstrate exactly because they're combat things. Let's see. Get a little bit more mobs here. I need an actual stack of those. Shoot, things just don't want to act right. Okay. All right, let's get some mobs here. A whole stack of them. All right. So over here at the arena, we might as well make use for it. Here we go. We'll do our combat in the combat arena. All right. Game mode, back to survival. Alright. Alrighty, so now as you can see, we got us some mobs. And the cooldown is still in effect for that, but the other ones like Rupture will cause more damage. As you can see, it's cutting them down pretty easily. And it's just a regular sword, no enchantments on it. So once you max out your swords, it's gonna definitely help with everything. Now the counterattack, when the activated effect of serrated strikes is active, you have a chance while taking damage or while blocking, you have a chance of countering the block and negating 50% of the damage that you would have taken. So that's another thing that with the activated one will we got 28 seconds and we'll show it again here. So that's one thing with the activated one, that counter strike attack, the counter attack works with the serrated strikes. Rupture is a passive one that can happen at any time while fighting. That one is not something you have to actually activate, but as I said, can occur while you have your serrated strike activated. So yes, we can ready the sword. go. And she countered attacked. I'm not taking nowhere near the amount of damage I normally would. Yeah, so that's a really nice ability there. So now that pretty much covers it for swords. Now we will move to our axes, which is, let me see my notes here. Axes have, let's see, a couple of different abilities here. We have Skull Splitter, Critical Strikes, Axe Mastery, Armor Impact, and Greater Impact. So to start off with, the Skull Splitter is your activated ability. Um, so just like with the other ones, you will left trigger to activate and right click to activate if you're on PC. Alright, we've readied our axe. The combat abilities, as you can see, when you get them fully leveled, they really help. You can cut down a whole pack of them, and I mean, I didn't take any damage, and I'm not even wearing armor. So, yeah, it's a big improvement. Alright, your critical strikes, the max, at max will deal 2 times damage to mobs, and 1.5 times damage to players. So your critical strikes that happen during your activated Skull Splitter will deal, much more damage. And Skull Splitter also deals an area of effect damage to the mobs too, or players that are around. So that's another thing with the Skull Splitter. Now with Axe Mastery, as you level up, this passively will add up to +4 damage, which would be, up to 2 more hearts of damage done with your normal attack. Your armor impact basically is passive too. It will up the damage that your hit does to the player armor or the mob's armor if they're wearing it. So basically you can, damage out their armor very quickly with that. Greater impact is a chance of knockback effect and damage. So basically there's a chance as you level up that you can actually use a knockback effect from the axe. I'm not exactly seeing that now. This is all coming off the MCmmo wiki, so I noticed some of it, hasn't been exactly finished. So maybe that effect is just not happening yet, or maybe it's not as off of a chance. But they say that there's a knockback effect implied, basically, once every so often, there's a chance of it. Alright, so that pretty much covers our axes. Now we'll move on to our tridents, which tridents are pretty much straightforward. It basically, as you've leveled it up, it increases the impale damage done by the trident. So, I mean, it's just basically a damage increase on it. There's no extra really sub-abilities for the trident. So, that's pretty much the ins and outs of that. Probably not the smartest thing to do, but it is what it is. Alright. Now we'll move on to our archery, which pretty obvious as far as leveling it up, you shooting mobs. Alright, with archery, we have the subcategories of skill shot, daze, and arrow retrieval. Which skill shot is the activated effect. Let's see here. Yeah, there's not many places to easily get. Alright. Oh, I forgot to activate the effect. Alright, here we go. How do you activate the effect? sure on that one. It didn't activate. But as you can see with the arrow retrieval is passive, I was able to pretty much get every arrow back that I shot out. You know, of course, these are all max stats, but it allowed me to retrieve every single arrow from that. Days basically is going to be more in your combat side with player to player. I'm not sure if this is going to work on your mobs, but basically there's an off chance that it will make them stand and just stare in the air for about 2 seconds. You know, basically you daze the player. Um, Supposedly when you activate skill shot, which I'm not sure on how the activation process works there, may just be always active. It wasn't very clear on that. But basically, as you level up, it will apply an additional damage of 200% when skill shot does actually happen. Daze is an extra 2 hearts of damage to the opponent when it does happen, and they look up for about 2 seconds. And then, of course, the retrieval is you know, you retrieve your arrows from the corpses, and as you get to your max level, it becomes a 100% retrieval rate on your arrows. Alright, I do believe a lot of this basically just crosses over for the crossbows. It's pretty much the same things for them. Our next one would be unarmed combat, which once again by myself is going to be a little bit harder to do, but basically to get my notes over here to it. Unarmed. Alright, basically you have what's called Berserker, Steel Arm, Arrow Deflect, Iron Grip, and Disarm. With Berserker, you right click or left trigger in order to activate it, and when it's activated, you will do 50% more damage. I don't know why it's not letting me ready my fist. I'm not sure why. It is part of this, isn't it? I'm not thinking I just looked up something. So slash MC stats. I did the upgrade for it. Slash C stats. Yeah, unarmed. So yes, it is, and it's in fact in here. I've seen it a many a times before when I was running around and I switched to something. It would just be my fist, but for some reason it's not working at the moment. There we go. I had to punch a few times, but basically when it's you deal more damage, like I said, but you're also supposed to be able to instantly mine dirt blocks and things. Yeah, there we go. See, we can instantly mine the blocks. Don't mind the hidden biome there. We'll get that fixed after the video. But any weak blocks like gravel, sand, things of that nature, while it's activated, you will be able to just instantly mine them with your hand. Um, Steel arm increases more damage done by your hit to mobs or a player with your bare hand. Arrow deflect is a chance that a attacker's arrow will be deflected. It'll just fall to the ground instead of hitting you. Iron grip is the chance to prevent a disarm by another player, and disarm is the chance to cause another player's equipped item to fall. So I can't really demonstrate those two very well, but basically as you're hitting another player with your bare fist, you have a chance of knocking the weapon out of their hand, and as you level up, you also gain the ability for disarm to not work on you very easily. So, you know, that's pretty much the ins and outs of that. Alright, now we go into taming. Alright, with taming is dealing with your wolf or your ocelot. Let's see. with taming, you have Call of the Wild, which is basically you crouch while holding a bone, and then you would use your right trigger or your there we go. You use your right trigger or your left wolf, and it should summon a dog to your side. Alright, so that's your Call of the Wild. You're supposed to be able to do this with a fish too. You crouch, and it made me not let me do the cat because I just called the dog. But you can call an ocelot supposedly too with using a fish. Um, you level up taming by taming wolves and ocelots, and also by taking your wolves into battle. You also have Beast Lore, which allows you to left click. Let's see. Left click on a wolf or ocelot, which should be your right trigger if I'm not mistaken. And it's supposed to give you their stats. Oh shoot, didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry, puppy. It's not giving me the stats. Not sure. Don't know why that's not working there. That's how you tell them to sit. Huh. Okay. You have Gore, which is wolf's target chance of bleed effect. Basically, whatever the wolf targets on has a chance of bleeding. Okay. I thought he would get up. Oh, shoot. Sorry. I'm not good with these commands here. I don't know why it's not even working there. There he goes. Well, I thought so. He's not attacking anything. I'm not sure what's going on there. There we go. Now, let's see if maybe... There we go. Alright. But yeah, basically it increases the damage they can do when they're attacking. Also, you have Sharpened Claws, which damage bonus dealt by wolves by their level. So as you level up your taming and all, they will deal more and more damage for their attack. Also, you have Environmentally Aware. Allows teleport of wolves when they're near things like lava or cactus or something like that. They will teleport to you instead of getting hurt by those items. Trying to see if I can replicate that, but their pathfinding's pretty good over that magma block there. And basically, it's supposed to just help keep them from getting hurt. Thick fur, which will make them fire resistant to a point. Shockproof, which will make them blast resistant to a point. And then also fast food, which means they will heal while attacking. So when they're attacking, they have a chance of healing like they were being, like they're eating. So that's pretty much all of it for tamed, which is, it's quite a bit there. It's a brief back over it. Basically, you can call them with a bone or a fish, dog or cat. You can supposedly check their stats, but I didn't seem to get that work. Hold on, let me try this one. No, I cannot get the stats part of this to work. I'm sorry for that, guys. But basically, you have the effects of Gore for the bleed effect by the wolves, Sharpened Claws damage bonus by the wolves, Environmentally Aware, which allows them to teleport to you and makes it to where they're less likely to die or get hurt, Thick Fur to make them somewhat fire resistant, Shockproof to make them somewhat blast resistant, and Fast Food so that they can heal when they attack with a good chance possibility to, of course, all of this is the better when you get leveled all the way up. Um, Now we're on to maces, the final subject of this video. Thank any of you guys that have held on this long through this video to learn this information. I know it's a long one, and I know I kind of ramble a bit too. It's a lot to unpack with all of this. So let's see here. Maces are where in my darn notes? All right. You have crush and cripple with maces. So basically increase damage by 1.125 for every level. So as you max up, this will get right powerful then. Okay. You need to sit so that I can demonstrate this, buddy. So let's go over here. All right. Alright, so that supposedly increased the damage on that. I'm not very used to messing with maces. I do know that, you know, a jump attack is much better, but I'm not used to messing with the maces like talking about. But supposedly that's better. You guys that use maces, you can tell me whether or not it really is or isn't. Um, then the cripple inflicts slowness, 8.25% chance per level. So the more higher level you get, the more of a chance you have of creating a slowness effect. That slowed that one on down quite a bit. Oh yeah, see that slows them down for a second. So that does do a little something there. All right. I don't know. Like I said, you guys who actually fight maces and all, you let me know if it's any better once you get it maxed up. I'm not sure. Uh, but that should wrap it up for this one. I know that was a lot of information to unpack. I thank you guys for sticking along and watching this tutorial. I will be out with the final third video here shortly on the last parts of the skill tree for MCmmo. Till the next one, I appreciate it and thank you guys. And please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out.